Welcome everyone to My Child, My Voice Parent Connection Show. I'm Wendy Gonzalez-Neal, and today we have some special guests. And just to let you know, I am missing my partner. Now, Shea is taking some well-rested time off. We want to give her some time with the family, so we wish her well on that. And we wanted to bring about today about some special guests that are going to talk about a really cool program that they're going to be talking about and the organization. But for me, I just can't believe we're already in October. Today's October 1st. Actually, I want to do a really quick shout out to my sister, Daphne, because I know she watches my show. Happy birthday. Here in Texas, we're enjoying this cooler weather. But just as a reminder, coming from Texas, you know, anybody watching from Texas, whether Houston, Dallas, or wherever you're in Texas, there is a deadline for voter registration, which is Monday, October 5th. Make sure you are ready to vote. I know Texas has done a really good job trying to push and making sure everybody's ready to vote by voter registration. So make sure you have all of the information. And guess what? And if you're interested in spreading that awareness of voter education, you know, join us at National Parents Union. We have the Every Family Votes toolkit that's easy and free, and it's downloadable where you can have a free toolkit that can help you spread that word, and also look up your voter information in your state to help spread that word, because, you know, your voice counts. So let's have our voices heard. And as I mentioned today, we're going to talk about a cool organization, what they're doing and helping parents during this pandemic, teaching emotional awareness to help families improve their communication skills. So let's welcome our guests from the Parent Forum.
Thank you, Wendy.
Well, hello, everybody. Hi, Eve, Howard, and Patrick. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you introduce yourself so that everybody knows who you are. Eve, you want to go ahead and start off and introduce who you are? And
I'm Eve Sullivan, founder of Parents Forum. I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Very grateful to you, Wendy, and to National Parents Union and my co-panelists, Dr. Dubowitz and Professor O'Leary. Parents Forum is my baby, my organizational baby. I have 3 grown sons and 4 grandkids, but I see or saw when I was raising my kids a real lack of the kind of just peer support. And we get it informally, but I thought as a language teacher, I could organize it. So I wrote a curriculum, and Parents Forum is explained in a book called Where the Heart Listens, and explained in a brochure called What Challenges Do You Face as a Parent, which is for free download on parentsforum.org. And I'm happy to say more. I could talk the whole half hour.
well, why don't we introduce our other guest. Howard, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, and thanks so much for including me. So my name, I think you can all see it, Howard Dubowitz there, right? And I'm a pediatrician, and I've been involved in different aspects of pediatric care for a long time, and for 30 some years at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. It's probably enough. Okay.
Okay, Patrick, and
Hi. I'm Patrick O'Leary. I am the coordinator for the Early Childhood Education Program at Youngstown State University, specializing in children ages birth through 5 and their families. And I've been working in early childhood education since I was 18 years old. And it's been my main focus throughout my academic career as well.
And so before we go on, Patrick, you're a little bit sideways to us.
Oh.
Just letting you know. There you
How's
go.
that?
That looks good. Just wanted to tell you. I was going to let you finish your spiel, but
I'm pleased it wasn't me.
What a great start. What a great start.
You never know. So why don't we go into talking about, Eve, I would like to ask you first, I know you told us about yourself, but what encouraged you to create the Parent Forum?
Well, before we came on, Howard was talking about whether we would talk about anything negative, since sometimes bad things do happen in families. But my 3 wonderful boys, who are all grown men and happy and productive citizens, had some troubles as teenagers. And the help that I got as a parent from other parents was transformative and life-saving, well, at least sanity-saving. So I took that help and realized what a gift it was and wanted to pass it on. So it was a Life Gives You Lemons Make Lemonade. And I wrote the curriculum as I described for Parents Forum.
And where is that located at?
Well, we're still stuck in my kitchen, as it were, although I'm sitting in my bedroom. Parenting education is a hard sell. Most people think they're doing just fine until they aren't. And then we need the pediatricians and we need the social workers and the parenting educators to help us out. I see Parents Forum as both an on-ramp and an off-ramp to professional help. We're not going to put the caregivers out of business, but we can help each other get into a mindset of receptiveness to help that we may need but not realize that we need.
Gotcha. So Howard, can you tell us the work that you're doing in the primary care and how it would help families?
So I think pediatricians and others, not just pediatricians, but family medicine folks, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and others working in primary care settings have an incredibly valuable opportunity to really assist, support, and educate parents on a whole bunch of different things. And a lot of the time that help may actually take place during those checkups that many of you will remember well. Sometimes help outside of the office or practice is needed. And in that way too, primary care folks can play a valuable role by facilitating connections, knowing being savvy about what's available in the community, and helping connect families with them. But if I can just pick up on a point that Eve raised, and that is so often as professionals, when we think of help that families need, there's a natural tendency to jump to, oh, other professionals or community agencies. So I often ask young pediatricians, residents, wait a minute, where do most of us get most of our help from? And invariably, the answer is from family and friends. And so encouraging folks to recognize that and to think of creative ways of how we can foster the use of that. And if I can give just one quick example, as a father and now grandfather, very often in pediatric care, we have ignored fathers, and fathers are not invited in. And guess what? Even when the dad is sitting there, there's an assumption that dad knows zip, and all the eye contact is with mom. Well, that hardly encourages dads to be more involved in the lives of their children. So here we have a small but potentially important opportunity to encourage dads to be more involved, and that can lead to a win for children, a win for mothers, and a win for dads. Anyway, it was a long-winded.
No, that's great points too, because it is very true. We do always, point towards the moms. And sometimes I feel like the dads, I'm fortunate enough, my husband and the father of my children was very involved in, their lives, their education. And then, but it's great to hear when fathers are stepping up and, actually getting involved in doing something as what you were mentioning. I think that's great to show that. And Patrick, we like to know what's the work you're doing in helping families.
Well, some of it's already been touched on. I'd like to hit the ground running with what Howard has already said about fathers. And one of the things that we do with our local Head Start agency is try to get fathers as involved as much as possible.
That's
And it
great.
is a challenge, and it's great though when they do. I know from my own experience of I have two young children under the age of 5, and when I'm out with them at the playground, and I'm sure that all of you can attest to this as well, there are a lot more dads and a lot more grandfathers that are with the children than I think even just a few years ago. And hey, that's great. I'm sure that we have a ways to go with that, but I do think that we're on the right path. But to your question, when I was getting my degrees, I was focused on early childhood language acquisition and early literacy skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think that those things are very, very important for young children. But as I've worked with children and their families for decades now, I've come to see that their social and emotional well-being of both the child and the parent is very important. I know that myself. So I am very lucky. I have down the street, 3 doors down, is my brother, his wife, their kids.
Oh.
My dad's on the next block. Yeah, my dad's on the next block. I have a PhD in child development. So as you can imagine, I have no idea what I'm doing at all in parenting. And there goes one right now. And, I think that there is this general feeling among parents that it's challenging no matter what the circumstances are. And of course, we know that since we've had a pandemic, an economic downturn, support systems are strained. And programs like Parents Forum, especially when they're going to connect with doctors like Howard or with agencies that run Head Starts, then we can really start to make the connections to the families and have them lose the stigma and get involved and see some positive results.
That's great. It's really great to hear about that. And it's so very true. During this pandemic, I feel like with this new norm, everything has changed. I think we're seeing something that we really weren't used to seeing, and now we're seeing so much more.
And especially the changing of the social support systems, how we go about that is going to be a very important decision.
That's very true. And I think I really like to get deep down, and anybody can answer, this question is like, how, what is it that Parents Forum is teaching families during this pandemic and other challenges to say that they're facing? How are they working with families that way?
Well, I'm happy to jump back in. I think our key message is the same as it's been for nearly 30 years since we started the program, is that my emotional awareness as a parent and my willingness to say I feel confused or upset or angry and ask for help with whatever is going on in my life is key. I think parenting educators often have, and pediatricians and professors have a wealth of knowledge and support to offer. But if you lead a horse to water, the horse has to gotta want to drink. So I would like to see Parents Forum as encouraging parents to talk about their feelings and increase their own social emotional learning skills in order to support their children and make their family life better.
Now, Patrick did bring a really good point is about fathers, because I do feel like it was more focused on the moms. And so how are you encouraging fathers to now be a part of this, or even the program itself? Open up, to be honest. I think that's the hard part.
It's an uphill struggle. In the best of times. We are having an open meeting. Parents Forum is having a Zoom meeting. So you can do it from wherever, your kitchen table or your comfy chair, and join us at 11 o'clock on Zoom Eastern time on Saturday. And if you send a query message to info@parentsforum.org, I will send you the link and you can join. And I hope, if there are men watching, that you will call in. And if there are women watching, call in with your partner at your side. Will
So
that
can
do
you-
it, Wendy?
Wendy, something that we do, and we're hoping to add Parents Forum into this, is that we have fathers volunteer to come to the classrooms to read with children, to read to the children.
Oh, that is
And
great.
sort of they sometimes dress up like superheroes or something cool, and the kids just love it. But yeah, anything where we actually make our local Head Start where they actually will make it about dads that day. So we want dads, we want men to come in. And we have about 800 children, and we're lucky to get about 15 to 20 dads. But again, just a few years ago, we were probably at 4 or 5 dads. So I do see it moving in the right direction. But I think actually just being direct about it and saying, hey, dads, let's get involved is a great starter. Because then they feel like they're welcome, and if they want to, then they can.
So I'm just curious, Patrick, how do you get fathers, how do you encourage them to come to the show or to the program? I'm sorry.
Well, we use any number of encouragement, and I use those in air quotations. We're not afraid to guilt somebody for their first trip. We find that if we can get them in the door the first time, that they usually really enjoy it, and it's a meaningful experience for them, and they see what a meaningful experience it is for the children. And so we try to get them involved that first time any way possible, and then once they do, they're more likely to come back and be more involved.
One of the things that I learned from somebody else, and you should always copy from smart people, is that there are 5 F's for successful parenting programs. They have to be free. So Parents Forum charges a license fee to an agency, and the agency that Patrick is working with has licensed Parents Forum. So it has to be free, frequent, good to offer food. What's the other one? Give feedback. And there's one other thing, but I forget it. So,
I think those are great things to
look it up in my cheat sheet. Where is it?
I think too is can you kind of tell us what a typical workshop would look like? I mean, I know when we talked, Eve, and I don't know if Howard or Patrick, you can, chime in, is you were talking about a particular one is how to tell somebody something they rather not hear, having these, difficult conversations.
Oh, that is so much fun. Everybody says, I need that. We all need it. Parents Forum has several tools of the trade. One of them is this conversational formula, I feel, about, because. And if I were to use it right now in a genuine way on a happy note and telling you something you'd like to hear, I am delighted about being on this program with my co-panelist and you, Wendy, because it advances the cause that we all care so much about, having children raised in happy families. If I were to switch that and tell somebody something they didn't want to hear, I don't know if I could say, Patrick, I felt confused about your picture being sideways because we were distracted from actually hearing your message. And clear communication is important for us. So when you say I feel about, because you say, I feel, angry, confused, resentful, whatever, about specific something. And then the because piece should be a positive value, because good communication is important, because cleanliness is important, because I care about your safety, whatever it is. You don't say, I feel angry about your leaving dishes in the sink because you're an idiot. That would not advance the cause. I don't know. Howard, maybe you can give us an example. Maybe something. Doctors must have to do that all the time.
And being a father himself.
Well, I think maybe if I can just take a step back for a moment. And one is, it's a cliche, but cliches are often true, right? And that is that parenting is a really tough job. And I remember when my kids were little, and boy, going to work on Monday, that was easy, So I think having folks acknowledge this and saying it out loud. And then another really important thing, it being okay to get help, to get support. And so somehow we've got this whole assumption or expectation that you're supposed to know what to do, which is a bad, bad mistake. I say that as a pediatrician, having studied pediatrics, having practiced pediatrics, and then having my kids. And boy, did I have a lot to learn. So it seems if we can convey those powerful messages that this is a tough job, you know, there are lots of groups there to help, and that it's a good thing to get help. So trying to get past, I think, Patrick, you mentioned the stigma, you know, that getting help means I'm weak, I'm inadequate, I've got a problem. Seems to me that's such a big barrier that we really have to work at overcoming.
Right, we want to normalize it. I think that's the main message.
Yeah.
And Wendy, something I find very helpful about Parents Forum is how at the sessions, they dive into getting the participants to talk about how they were parented and how that may be affecting their current parenting behavior.
That's very
And
true.
I know even with my own students, I'm teaching a class called Parenting right now, and each week I have them do a discussion. Well, a couple weeks ago, I had a discussion about asking them, what style of parenting were you raised in? And how do you think that will impact you if you become a parent? And the responses were just these florid, descriptive, lengthy responses, because I think people maybe don't always like to talk about that, but it feels good to talk about that. And it's cathartic in some way to talk about that. And it's helpful to talk about that in thinking about how, if and how this may be impacting my own behaviors. And then am I either participating in a generational cycle, positively or negatively, a generational cycle, and how that works and how that happens. So like I said, I think that's a fun part of it, that people really open up and get very descriptive, and they share a lot of their feelings and their childhood and stuff like that. And that's really beneficial too.
That sounds like a really great program, especially to, you know, talk about something that's not easy, like you mentioned, to talk about. It's not easy for families to open up.
It's important to stress, Wendy, is exactly what Patrick said, is that that if we look back, if we do a little self-reflection of how we were raised and what people did for us that worked, we can say, oh, I want to do a little bit more of that, but then also notice when we make mistakes and be easy on ourselves, because same kid, different day, or same day, different kid is going to need something different. And we need to support each other. And if I can segue from the word support and get into our fundraiser, can I get
Sure.
Parents Forum has been stuck in my kitchen for over 25 years. And we just got into the Gannett Foundation challenge called A Community Thrives, ACT, A Community Thrives. We are delighted to be part of it. It involves fundraising, so you can look for us on A Community Thrives. And depending on if we make the money that we need to raise $3,000 by the 16th of October, we are eligible to be selected for a huge grant. And then we can hire a staff, and then we can reach out to more Dr. Dubowitz's and more Patrick O'Leary's. We have only one chapter in Youngstown, Ohio, and that is thanks to, I think, the brilliant mayor of Youngstown, Mayor Brown, who said, yes, I would like to implement Parents Forum for all my parents, and we're starting with Head Start. So
That is great to hear. I do thank you, all of you, for coming in on the show and telling us about the Parents Forum. I think it's a great organization, especially about, you know, talking about relationships, communication, opening up dads. I mean, that's not something that's easy to do. I commend you, Eve, and Patrick and Howard for the work that you're doing with your own communities. I think this is something and hope to see in the future where it will, be able to expand to more, states. I'm in Texas. I would love to have something like that
Let
here
me
in Texas.
say quickly that if we get a big grant from a Community Thrive, through a Community Thrives with Gannett Foundation, we will be able to charter 10 new sites, and we will take applications. So we won't keep the money all for ourselves. We'll recycle it and send it out the way National Parents Union does to other individuals and communities so that they can form a chapter, and maybe at the recommendation of pediatricians.
So if families that are interested, how do they, communicate with you to see if either once you do, reach your goal, if they can have a chapter in their state, how would they go about doing that?
info@parentsforum.org, info@parentsforum.org. And at our website, you can download for free the brochure, which gives some more details. And I want to thank my co-hosts. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Patrick.
Yes. It was very delightful to hear, the work that both of you are doing, especially you, Patrick, talking about dads, because we really don't talk a lot about dads, to be honest. I'm glad that you brought up
my three boys. 2 are parents, and they are so much better at raising their children than I ever was. So.
And for the people that are watching our show, we will put their information in the comment field. So if you do have questions for Eve, you can get in touch with her, as she mentioned, as well as the website, so that you can look and explore more about what they're doing. If you want more information about Parent Union and you would like to become a member, you can reach us at info@npunion.org. Tune in on Monday. We are having our second segment of the Kid Connection Show. We are bringing story time and activities right at your fingertips in your own home. And Shea will be back with us. We miss her. So this is one episode you don't want to miss. And again, thank you everybody for watching our show. Stay healthy, stay safe, mask up. Thank you again. And thank you all of you for joining the Parent Connection Show. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Howard, Patrick.
Hey, Ralph, thank you so much